As many people stay home to stay safe, that can be the worst place to be for victims of domestic violence.
And across the country, cases are up by 50%.
Survivors from the LGBTQ community face two stigmas. Studies show violence is even more common in that community, yet far fewer victims reach out for help.
Domestic violence in relationships goes back to this differentiation of power. And so someone's identity as LGBTQ is another one of those factors that can breed relationship imbalance, especially if you're somebody that is more closeted about your gender identity or about your sexual orientation. That's why my Equal Justice Works fellowship project is focused on providing civil legal representation for LGBTQ identified survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, harassment, and stalking. I grew up about an hour and a half north of the city of Chicago in a little town called Zion, Illinois. I think I always knew that I was gay. Growing up in an area that was unsupportive of that, I didn't feel safe to be open and out about who I was. The experience of living in a world that didn't accept me as I am really influenced me to want to focus my work on the LGBTQ community because I knew that struggle and I wanted to be that person that I wish I had growing up. There are these assumptions that survivors are cisgender, female identified, and domestic violence programs are geared towards female identified cisgender survivors. So when abuse occurs in an LGBTQ relationship, it changes the entire lens with which you evaluate the abuse in that situation. And so there really is a need for education around these unique dynamics. In order to do that, I needed to create a program at Legal Aid Chicago where we integrated training on a mass level. Because if you feel like your lawyer or your advocate has no idea how to handle the abuse that you've undergone, you're not gonna utilize those resources. You can file what's called a gender motion. It's like a formal way of letting the court know this is the gender, name, pronouns that you want this client to be referred to for the duration of the case.
I represent transgender and gender expansive people in direct legal services. Joey reached out to me and I was really excited because we get a lot of family law referral requests and I was having a hard time knowing where to send people. And a lot of times with orders of protection, you don't have 3 weeks to wait to talk to an attorney. So to have a direct person I know, it's a much smoother process and a much safer one. He really fills in a gap that we had in Chicago.
There's a lot of work that we still have to do, but what I'm excited about is the fact that we're opening up an avenue for legal services in the city of Chicago and expanding it to create opportunities for folks who are left out of the equation. These resources that we're creating for survivors of abuse and violence to be able to access a lawyer at Legal Aid Chicago is really going to contribute to increasing people's safety, increasing their access to civil legal services, and getting the justice that they deserve.